Welcome everyone to this rendition of the MEMSPA Minutes. I am Mike Domagalski, the president of the Michigan Elementary and Middle School Principals Association. I am delighted today, as today's MEMSPA Minutes, to introduce Megan Schrauben. She's the Executive Director of MiSTEM, and she's got some great opportunities, especially for our MEMSPA members, but anyone listening to this video series. So Megan, welcome to the MEMSPA Minutes broadcast.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks so much for having me here, and always appreciate the opportunities that MEMSPA provides for members in our schools in the state.
Awesome. And thank you so much for being on this. We'll talk for a couple of minutes about MiSTEM. I think we could talk about some grants and some free money for some principals and some schools. So let's get right into it. So Megan, for the people that are listening and watching this, can you talk to them just for a minute or two, just about what MiSTEM is all about?
Yeah, so MiSTEM was created about 3 years ago. It's actually a joint partnership between the Department of Education and the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, part of the governor's goal to, make sure that we have 60% of our post-secondary credentials awarded to people in our state. So really key to call out the fact that STEM careers are some of the fastest growing of all careers, and to provide prosperous opportunities for everyone in our state, right? So those graduates in 2030, they're in fourth grade now. So we really need to make sure that we are interesting students earlier and helping all of them see that they have an opportunity in these high-wage, high-skilled careers.
Awesome. I love that from an elementary, and I'm a middle school principal, but from definitely the K-8 aspect, implementing STEM as early as possible in those type of activities to then have conversations with students about, hey, we can start talking about careers. It's okay in elementary school and middle school. We oftentimes think that it's a high school conversation. It's not. It's a middle school and elementary conversation. It's what education is all about, is preparing our students for the next step. So I appreciate that. We focus a lot in our district on STEM, STEAM, Project Lead the Way, a lot of different things, hands-on development like that. So I hear there's some grants. I hear there's some money available for some STEM instruction, particularly at the elementary level, that MiSTEM can support. Can you talk to our members or anyone listening or watching about some free money and some grants that they could potentially apply for?
Yeah, so the grant that was just released about a week ago, it's called the Innovative STEM 3P Learning. 3P meaning problem, project, place-based. You just mentioned Project Lead the Way. That's a model, right? That's very much focused in that project-based type area. And STEM is really this dual benefit for our communities, right? For our students, is that it's we already talked about the opportunities that provides for the future for them in terms of their economic well-being, but it's also really engaging context for students, right? They're naturally born inquisitive, scientists, really. And so how do we make sure that school really becomes a space where students are exploring all the way through, right? They never really lose that opportunity for wonder and excitement around learning. So STEM, great areas to engage students in, and that just makes the learning so much better, right? So the grant is intended to help schools and primarily school leadership, right? So that's where MEMSPA comes in as a key partner. School leadership, think about what is it that's really an asset in our community? What are we excited about as a community? What makes this area special, right? Really moving us off of a deficit thinking of, oh my gosh, we have all these problems that we need to solve. STEM a lot of times comes up with or speaks from that problem area, right? We're in the middle of a pandemic right now. Well, how are STEM and the understanding of vaccines helping to solve that? But really, how can we flip the script about the opportunities that are available for students in our communities right now, right? So it's called, we're creating with researchers in our state and actually across the world. One of our researchers is based in Scotland, a practice guide, right? So we refer to them as playbooks, where we want to establish a community of practice, right, of school leaders that are going through these playbooks co-design process, right? So our researchers have looked at, compliance in Michigan. They're designed to align with that MyKit process. And eventually you'll find them in the strategy bank, right? Once we have them completely developed. And research, right? So bridging compliance and research. Sometimes they speak across each other, right? They don't always speak the same language. And so sitting down in a community of practice with our researchers and saying, what's the vision for how we really want to engage our learners in our community? How do we want to engage our community as well, right? So school beyond the four walls, connecting out of school time learning, home learning, all together, right? And that research supports, that best engagement in learning and application to the future is in that 3P model, right? So if you look at our results right now, right, play-based instruction at pre-K, they do this well. But then we move into K-12 and we tend to leave project problem-based learning as an elective type opportunity, right? Or a special in the elementary area. And then we get to something like CTE, right? And then CTE goes back to more of that place-based, problem-based, contextual application type learning. And what you see in CTE programs is that you're graduating like high 90% of your students ready for that next step. And so can we really afford to, continue to keep the majority of our population not graduating ready for that next step, right? So going all the way back, linking pre-K, what's done really well there in place-based, all the way through problem, project, place-based types of learning, right? And you're really kind of like taking the scaffolding away as you get through the grades, right? So the grant is to ask schools to come together and think about that with us. And half of the funding comes from MiSTEM, half the funding comes from the Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Great Lakes and the Energy. Sorry, I'm throwing up all my acronyms today and messing them up. But we're really trying to encourage people to think about how when learning through these application concepts or contexts, right, all of your content areas can kind of be worked into it, right? And it's a natural way for students to start to explore these different careers that are located in their community and expand to what could be possible globally, right? So half the funding, like I said, minimum $5,000, depending on the number of students you're planning to serve, step that up. We've got 3 levels. Max would be $20,000. The applications aren't due until April 12th, and we're trying to make this application process as simple as possible. There are only 13 overall questions. Number 13 is actually a required budget upload. And that budget is really to support your participation with us in those communities of practice. We'll also provide needed professional learning. If you're like, hey, we actually don't have any foundational place-based instruction, for example, for some of our educator teams, we'll add that to what you're actually receiving as part of this grant, right? So you're getting additional professional learning, and the budget is for you to say, hey, we're committing our time, right? Like we're going to give stipends to our educators or to our administrators or community partners in order to help, review those playbooks with us. And then the rest of the funding or all the funding, depending on how you choose to use it, could be for implementing your own 3P program.
Awesome. So, I mean, a lot of information there, but I appreciate that as people can go back, rewatch this, re-listen to it. So we really just want to engage our learners, potentially create something new, potentially support something we have, engage our community, the application with the 3P model. Where can they access that application, or how does this work? You said the application, is it open right now? Can people apply today? And today is, in early February already. Can we already apply?
Yes. Unfortunately, we did our technical assistance webinar last evening, but you'll be able to find the slides that we used in that. And of course, reach out, take a look at the FAQ. Our webpage where you can find all MiSTEM grants that are available is at michigan.gov/MiSTEM grants. And so this one will be one of the top ones that show up. Look for that innovative STEM 3P piece. I should mention the EAGLE funding. So it's $200,000 total. half of the funds coming through EGLE and the EPA, federal EPA, would encourage place-based water literacy expansion and institutionalization within your community, right? And the other half of the funds could be any STEM context. If you decide to write for another environment, freshwater literacy type focused thing, that's totally fine too. And then you would also receive, like a tiebreaker vote if you are integrating computer science standards as well, right? So we're trying to really encourage and say, look, these rich environmental contexts, no matter where you are in our state, you need to have access to fresh water. We need to figure out how to be stewards. We want to keep our state, being a beautiful place to live, right? And, attract tourists here. So that's really kind of the, helping people think about the environment as a STEM career, right? And just the fact that everyone in our state can access that, right? And then the other piece being computer science isn't required, but students really do need those computational understandings for all future jobs, whether they're STEM related or not.
Yeah, for sure. So that's great. So you gave us the website. What I'll do is, for people that are watching, listening, I will actually upload this. This will be a YouTube MEMSPA Minutes, and I will put that website with that grant application link there in the comments below, so people can check that, along with the due date of April 12th, I believe you said, correct?
Correct.
Excellent. So I'll put all that in the comments below. Anyone interested, please check it out. You can reach out to Megan. You can reach out to MiSTEM. Check out that link. Reach out to us at MEMSPA. We'll get you connected to apply for this grant. Seems like it's pretty simple. Only 13 questions. That's pretty easy to apply for this grant. Anywhere between $5,000 and $20,000, correct?
Correct.
That is amazing. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope we can get some good applications for that. Anything you want to add before we send off here, Megan?
I should remind everyone, because I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, it is a consortia application. So the local education agencies or an ISD partner, it has to be someone who receives school aid dollars, right? That's the fiscal applicant that would be submitting for this. But we're really looking for that business community partner. And I really encourage you to bring a team of, literacy experts. That's one of the biggest things here, is that, your literacy skills really grow when you have that context to engage students around. So happy to engage, your literacy coaches and everyone else in order to help shift this across all content areas.
Awesome. Great. Seems like a wonderful opportunity. We'll try to plug that and get some applications out. So Megan, thank you for your time. Thank you for all your work you're doing, especially, letting us shout this out with MEMSPA and your partnership with us. So we appreciate you greatly. And thanks for being on the MEMSPA Minutes and sharing this great information.
Thank you, Mike. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And for everyone listening, this will be posted on the MEMSPA Minutes YouTube channel and MEMSPA TV. Please reach out to MEMSPA at any time by going to www.memspa.org, reaching out to anyone there, and then we will get you connected with MiSTEM or any of the other great opportunities we have going on at MEMSPA. But for myself, Mike Domagalski, President of MEMSPA, we're going to sign off. For Megan as well, Executive Director at MiSTEM, thank you so much for watching or listening, and we'll catch you next time here on the MEMSPA Minutes.